So I'm with Ryan. My eyes are really bad. I'm with Ryan Mitchell,
Hi
Team
there,
Reba, Team Reba, The Voice
Team
season
Reba.
28.
Yes,
Yes. So pleasure to meet you, man.
it's super nice to meet you too.
So here's the thing. Both of us are LA based. I see it says your hometown is Glendale. I guess for people not in the know, can you tell them a little bit about what Glendale is all about? And I like to think, from what little I know, I'm assuming growing up in Glendale as your hometown, you were surrounded by amazing cultures and food. That's my overview because you're sandwiched in so many different cool cities, and the city itself is great. So, what was your overall impression growing up in Glendale for people not in the know, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I love so many things about that area, and even like the areas around it, like Echo Park and all that. But first thing that comes to mind is like really good Armenian food and Lebanese food. There's a lot of that around there, and yeah, I mean, there's good Mexican food, obviously, like being Los Angeles. Glendale is, yeah, like I said, right by Echo Park. There's a lot of like music shops and record shops and stuff like that. So like when I was in high school, like that was really cool, just being so close to like all that music. And yeah, no, I love Glendale.
Ryan, you have one of the best stories this season on The Voice. And were you a little bit nervous about sharing your life story with people watching The Voice? And then on the flip side of that, what's it been like for people who haven't followed you on your socials or your music before to actually get a new audience because of The Voice and sharing their own stories with you as well? That must mean a lot to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so sorry. Can I move rooms real quick? Someone just came to the door and it's
You take your time. No
all right.
worries.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Someone's here. Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me answer that question. Do you want to ask it again or
Oh yeah, no, no, you can answer the question. I'll be editing heavily, so you're all good. Just the whole idea about just opening up to people in the package. It's a very vulnerable and actually very inspiring package about, just about your life. Was that nervous for you? And then what has it been like sharing that and then getting that feedback? Because I'm sure a lot of people who love your music share their own personal stories as well. That must mean a lot to you personally.
Yeah, no, it's been incredible. Actually, ever since the first blind audition aired, and I got to share a little bit about my story. I'm 4 years sober, as you know, and I got to a really dark place just over the course of the pandemic, and like I ended up like kind of I stopped going to school. Like I cut off all my family and my friends, and like I had burned like every bridge, and I was like living on the street for a second, and I ended up like looking in the mirror and I was like, oh my God, like I could die, if I don't do something about this. And I ended up reaching out for help to my family, and they ended up getting me into treatment, and like I found my voice again, just like getting sober and like being honest with myself for the first time in a long time. So that whole process, like, really, I think, like, helped me. It's the only reason that I was able to audition for and be on something like The Voice. I don't know how far I would have made it after that point. But I owe that to my sobriety. Like I got to keep that solid before everything else. And just all of this happening as a result of that initial decision is so crazy to me. But opening up about that and sharing about that, I like to wear that on my sleeve. Like I that's part of my journey. That's part of my life, and I don't think it's something that people need to keep secret. I think that the more that people share about stuff like that, the less taboo it is, and the more things get addressed, and the more people get help, for sure.
Right, right. Ryan, this is just a general question. Where do you get your fighting spirit from? Because even with the Carson callback, first of all, you don't get a chair turn. You get the Carson callback. Okay, so one of these things is there's a lot of pressure. You have 24 hours to prepare for the song. And then on top of that, you make it. And then with the battles, you're up against two artists who are, I'm sure, your buddies, but you're up against the odds. It's every single round. And even just to get on the stage initially on The Voice takes a lot of work and a lot of you. Where does that fighting spirit come from?
I feel like I'm always in competition with myself. And that continues to drive me every day. And every time I write a song, I'm like, I need this song to be better than the last. Every time I do a show, I need this show to be better than the last. And maybe that's like a little toxic at times, but like I love to push myself, and it lets me really see like how far I've come, and like I like the challenge. I do. It's fun.
Carson, I think Carson in one of the packages, I forgot which round it was. He described you as an alt rocker, and there aren't many of those in the voice. And I realized, how come there aren't a lot of people like you in the voice? Period. Not throwing stones, but I think you're just a very unique talent, and that's what a lot of people have been saying this season. Why do you think there's not more of that genre and that approach that you have?
Thank you so much. First of all, that's really nice. And I don't know. I think I was an artist first growing up. The most important thing to me was writing songs. And, I started playing drums in a band with my siblings, and then I started playing guitar, and it was all about whatever serves the song the best. That was always the most important thing to me. I never really thought that like singing was, I was never like an Olympic singer, until the last 4 years where I was like, I need to like push myself and like really give this everything I've got. But I think that foundation really, it allowed me to like only really sing the things that I love, and the things that I understand. And for me, that was a lot of rock music, for sure.
Look, I can tell just from an outside looking in, Reba really appreciates you as an artist. So, of course, did Carson. What's it like just on the early rounds to get that form of support? And when you watch it on TV, you can feel that their link and emotion towards you is genuine, and it's not just put on for show.
Yeah, no, I mean, first of all, Carson, Team Carson, him using that callback on me, I was in like disbelief, honestly. I thought maybe I had split into an alternate reality or something. Like, because I was disappointed, and it wasn't the end of the world, but I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to try out another year or something, and I walked off of that stage, and Carson was talking, and it's almost like his words didn't register until I saw that like card, and I was like, wait, like what? And that was so crazy. And just to have him supporting me, and like I said, like I've seen like videos of him like on like MTV, which is like it's before my time, but all my favorite bands are before my time, and I thought that was so cool. And the fact that he was on my side meant like the world to me. I felt so seen by him. And then furthermore, like Reba turning her chair the next day, she is like, I mean, she's so experienced, and she's a true legend. She's like the queen of country music. And even though I'm not a country musician, I respect so much about country music, and I love so much that Reba has done. She's like an actor, she's like an activist, she's done all this different stuff. She's like a real legend, like a personality. And to have her on my side, and to have her see something in me, it felt really good, for sure.
Ryan, I'm going to ask you a superficial question since you are LA based.
Yeah.
Was it sort of your responsibility with the fellow artists that you're making friends with and they're your colleagues? Did they ask you advice on LA, or did they ask you, "Oh, can you drive me around? Were you a resident tour guide?" Or I'm such an introvert. If I was in your shoes, I would have just stayed in my requisite hotel room and just play video games and shut myself out. But where do you stand on that spectrum?
Somewhere between an extroverted introvert. Being someone that doesn't drink, I go out more than I used to actually when I was drinking, which is weird. Like I love going to a bar like with my friends and like just getting some chips and guac or whatever. But I definitely I met a couple of really good friends like through this whole process, and it was fun to like show them a couple places like to eat. Like there's like Porto's bakery, and like couple like staple LA places that I'd recommended to people. But also I like to take that time to like be in my room, and like it was such an amazing opportunity to write while my instrument was like at its best, and I was taking the best care of my voice that I could. And I was able to write some music that hopefully I'll be releasing after this process. But it was so nice to just have some downtime to really focus on my craft and do that. I brought that's the other nice thing about being in LA. I brought like my microphone, recording booth. Like I had like a studio set up in the hotel room.
That's amazing. Look, I've started listening to My Very Own Disease, really liking the tracks that I'm listening to right now. How much work did you put into it? That's first of all, can you tell our listeners about that? And then the B side of that, you mentioned writing. Is writing ever a lonely process for you? And if it is so, how does one overcome it? Or maybe you don't because you're just an experienced in this. So
Well, thank you for checking out my EP. I really appreciate it. And yeah, no, the process of that, those songs have come together over the course of the last year, actually. But one of my favorite, maybe my favorite track off of that EP, the title track, My Very Own Disease, I ended up recording while I was in the hotel, which was a lot of fun. And I was doing all these Zoom sessions I recorded it with my good friend and my brother-in-law. His name is Ben. And I ended up co-writing that song. Originally, I had a song and I brought it to the bassist in the band I play with, and we kind of workshopped it and we kind of co-wrote it, and it ended up in a really good spot. And I was like, I really just want to make like something that rocks, like, and I want to pull back on the production a little bit and give it more of like a real feel and something more true to like what I love. So that song was a lot of fun to put together. And the other songs, yeah, it's just been like over the past 6 months ish, I've been putting those together and dropping them as singles, kind of waterfalling them and getting ready for this.
that's amazing. And then the songwriting process for you, is it ever a lonely process, or is it actually a great process for you to actually have some solitude and create something out of nothing? How do you see that process for yourself?
I love writing music. It's like therapy to me. I think good music requires honesty, and honesty is a good thing, and the more real I can be with myself about how I'm feeling and what I'm going through, the more I'm able to process those things. So it's never a lonely process. It's fun too, because I get to take whatever's happening to me, whether it's positive or negative or whatever, and I get to make something cool out of it, and that's the whole point to me. I get this thing as a result that's fun to listen to, and I get to turn pain into music, or whatever. And it's never a lonely process. I like co-writing with people as well too. It just depends on what the vibes are, but yeah, I love to write. Always have.
Ryan, we live in an age when we go to social media and we look at people who are our followers, and we look at numbers count, and we look at social analytics and all that stuff. So we look at something like Ryan Mitchell Sings and it's over maybe 580K on TikTok.
Yeah.
We as outsiders see that as a number. You as an artist don't see it as a number. What are we not seeing? Meaning the hard work you put in to grow your community. What are the nuances that I think most people might be overlooking because we just see the surface sheen of things? What is I guess I can't explain it in a soundbite, but what are the inner workings of growing that community?
Well, I kind of made a commitment to myself that I would post something every day. And a couple years back, I started that, and it wasn't even music. I was releasing music, but I was posting like comedy or weird little skits or whatever. And I reached a point where I was like, okay, like people are engaging with this, but they're not engaging with my music, right? So I ended up making a whole new account, starting over. That account had like a good 40,000 some followers, but I was like, I've worked myself into a corner here, so I need to start fresh. So I started fresh, and I started just singing. No, not saying anything, just singing. And I was singing trending sounds and covers of bands that I love. And eventually I caught some traction on this first video I was singing of Too Sweet by Hosier when that song first started blowing up. And I was just like in my kitchen, like pouring some coffee and like singing the song. And so that kind of became like a bit, and I kept bringing it back. And so my bio on there for a while was like kitchen rock star, because I'm doing these rock vocals in my kitchen, pouring a cup of coffee. Like it's just kind of a good vibe. And I ended up gaining a lot of followers by doing that, and by sharing the music that I love. I think it gave people an insight to the music that I make, and so people started checking out my own music, and it's become a good avenue to help people to discover my songs.
So with all those followers, the people who like your music, your journey on The Voice, do you feel that all of those things are great blessings and they're wonderful, but do they come sort of a distant second when you see how proud your loved ones are, your dad in the package, when he's getting teary? I'm pretty much teared up as well. What's that like to see him be so proud of what you do as an artist? And then it must mean a lot to you, and just, yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you. I mean, there have been a lot of people that have helped me to get to this point, but my family has been so supportive and amazing. My mom, my dad, my grandparents, my siblings, everyone has helped me so much in my sobriety and in my music journey and everything. And just to be able to show them that it was worth it, and that I can pull through, and that, you know, I'm on TV and and I'm on the news. It's unreal, and I'm so just like beyond grateful that I'm able to do that and to make them proud, because that means the world to me.
Ryan, final question is big picture. No matter how far you go on The Voice, this is just one of the many chapters in your artistic journey. Wonder, in layman's terms, how has that impacted what you do, or maybe not impacted what you do along the path of where you're going?
I'm sorry. How is what impacted?
How is like your time on The Voice impacted what you do as an artist, or maybe it hasn't? In what way has it influenced you as an artist, or how in tangible fashions has it helped you grow?
Oh, my time on The Voice has totally flipped what my song creating process on its head. I'm so excited to like write some amazing stuff after learning everything that I've learned from Reba, everything that I've learned from this whole process about just arranging songs to make them as awesome as possible. I have learned a ton, and I'm starting to implement that into my writing, just like stuff like dynamics, you know, like starting in like a small place and like getting up to the high notes, and really focusing on the performance. That's the most important thing in the, you know, all the other stuff I think is secondary, but just like connecting to the emotion of the song and like really feeling it. This process has totally prepared me to like to make music, and I'm really excited.
Okay, so Ryan, final question. I'm a Spotify person. I used to be Apple Podcast, but now I'm just down. One of the selfish things I like to do is when I'm interviewing artists, I just immediately download their albums. I download my very own Disease, okay, and I'm really excited to listen to the entire album EP. But what's coming next? You said you're excited for more songwriting stuff. Are you just gonna keep on putting out albums under your Spotify name and whatnot? What's the future hold for you?
Yeah, I have several singles at this point lined up for whenever my time on The Voice comes to an end. I will be releasing some songs, so I'm excited for that. Although I'm excited.
Great, Ryan. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. For more movie and television reviews and interviews, please subscribe to my Deepest Dream channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and as always, thanks so much for your support. Take care.